Here's the thing about being a kid in Tudor times that'll blow your mind. Roughly 1 in 4 children never saw their FTH birthday. About half wouldn't make it past age 10. Let that sink in. In your average Tudor classroom, half those kids wouldn't survive to adulthood. Parents had lots of children knowing full well that many wouldn't survive. This wasn't some distant tragedy. It was everyday life. Oh, and if you're enjoying these stories, I'd really appreciate a like or subscribe. Super curious where you're all listening from. So, drop a comment with your location and what time it is there. Always blows my mind how people are falling asleep to this all over the world. All right, let's head back to Tudor England. 1526. Trust me, it's going to be quite a ride. But first, get comfortable. Seriously, adjust those pillows. Pull up that blanket because where we're going, you're going to want to be cozy. So, congratulations. I wake with a gasp, my heart pounding as if I've been dropped from a dream into a world that shouldn't exist. My body lies heavy on a lumpy straw pallet, the coarse linen beneath me scratching like 1,000 tiny needles against my skin. This isn't my bed, not the soft, familiar cocoon of memory foam and crisp cotton sheets I left behind in my modern life. No, I'm sprawled on the cold, packed dirt floor of a Waterlandab house. A cramped 20 by 15-foot space tucked in the rolling countryside near York, England, in the heart of the 14th century. The air slams into me, first the thick, choking cloud of wood smoke from last night's fire, its embers glowing faintly in the center of the room like the last breath of a dying star. There's no chimney, just a pitiful hole in the thatched roof, and the smoke lingers, stinging my eyes until they water and coating my throat with a bitter, ashy taste. It's not just smoke, though. The air carries the raw, earthy temps of unwashed body-azate souls crammed into this single room, their breaths mingling in the dim, pre-dawn light. In the corner, behind a flimsy wooden partition that seems more suggestion than barrier, I catch the musky reek of chickens clucking softly and a pig snuffling through straw, its hooves scraping the earth. My senses reel, assaulted by a world so alien it feels like I've been hurled across time itself. My pulse races, not with fear, but with a wild, electric curiosity. What is this place? This raw, unfiltered slice of history unfolding around me. I'm not just witnessing the past, I'm living it, breathing it, and it's both thrilling and terrifying. A sensory shock that hooks my soul and won't let go. I blink hard, trying to clear the sting from my eyes, as the first slivers of dawn creep through unglazed windows, their wooden shutters rattling faintly in the morning breeze. The world outside comes alive with sound, a symphony that jolts me further awake. A rooster's crow slices through the stillness, sharp and insistent, answered by others across the village, like a call to arms for the day. Cattle low in the distance, their hooves thudding on muddy paths as they're herded toward pasture, a deep, resonant rhythm that feels ancient, primal. Somewhere nearby, a blacksmith's hammer clangs against iron, each strike a heartbeat of the village, while wooden doors creak and voices call out in a language I shouldn't understand but do warm, rough, and threaded with urgency. Eleanor. The fire. Peter. Water. Now. The words pull me back inside, where the family stirs, their movements a dance of routine etched into their bones. Agnes, the mother, kneels by the hearth, her hands deftly coaxing embers into flame with small sticks, each crackle a spark of life in the dim room. William, the father, rises beside me, his joints popping like dry twigs as he stretches, his broad frame casting a shadow across the straw-strewn floor. "The day waits for no one," he mutters, his voice gruff but kind, carrying the weight of a life tethered to the land's unforgiving rhythm. He nudges Peter, a wiry boy of 10, toward the door with a bucket and calls to Eleanor, his teenage daughter, to help with breakfast. I'm an outsider, a stranger dropped into their world like a stone into a still pond. Yet they glance at me with quiet acceptance, as if time travelers are just another part of their dawn. My heart thumps louder, not from fear, but from a burning need to know, what is this life like, so far from my own? What secrets does it hold, and why does it feel like I'm meant to be here, unraveling them as I sit up, brushing straw from the rough wool tunic I've somehow acquired? William shares a revelation that stops me cold. These people don't sleep like I do, chasing an elusive 8 hours with apps, alarms, and anxiety. They follow a rhythm called biphasic sleep, a pattern so foreign it feels like a glimpse into another species. They sleep after sunset, what they call first sleep, then wake around 1 a.m. for a quiet hour they call the watch, a time for prayer, reflection, or soft conversation. Then they return to second sleep until dawn. Last night, I stirred in the dark, my modern mind confused but oddly soothed, hearing William's low voice murmuring about spring planting while an owl's haunting call echoed outside, stitching the night together. The rhythm is strange, almost mystical, like a tide pulling me into its flow. I think of my own restless nights, fractured by glowing screens and endless notifications, and feel a pang of envy for this natural cadence. There's wisdom here, a harmony with the hours that feels like a lost art, and it sparks a flicker of awe in my chest. Could I find peace in such a rhythm, letting go of my need to control time? The thought lingers, tugging at me, urging me to dive deeper into this world, to uncover more of its quiet magic. Agnes hands me a wooden bowl, its surface worn smooth by countless hands, filled with steaming potage, thick stew of peas, onions, and a precious scrap of pork that feels like a gift in this lean world. The warmth seeps into my palms, grounding me, but the smell is unfamiliar, earthy and slightly sour, nothing like the coffee and toast I'd expect at home. Beside the bowl is a chunk of dark, heavy bread made from rye and barley, what they call maslin. It's dense, almost chewy, nothing like the fluffy white loaves I know, baked in the Lord's oven for a fee that underscores the hierarchy woven into every part of this life. Everyone drinks ale from a wooden bucket, a low-alcohol brew, maybe 1 to 2% by volume, because the nearby stream's water is too risky. Even Peter sips it, his small hands steady as he pours, and I hesitate, my modern instincts screaming caution. But I take a sip, the malty, nutty flavor surprising me with its warmth, its simplicity. This isn't about pleasure. It's fuel for survival, calories to carry them through grueling days. I feel a strange mix of discomfort and fascination, my tongue wrestling with the unfamiliar taste, while my mind marvels at their resourcefulness. How do they thrive on so little, turning scraps into sustenance? There's a quiet dignity in it, a resilience that stirs something deep in me. A reminder of the excess I take for granted: plastic coffee cups, endless grocery aisles, food wasted without a thought. Their simplicity isn't just survival. It's a kind of strength, and I'm hooked, wanting to learn more, to feel what they feel. Stepping outside, the village unfolds like a living tapestry, raw and vibrant, pulling me deeper into its world. Houses of Wattalandob, their timber frames packed with mud and straw, cluster around a central green, their thatched roofs sagging under the weight of time. Beyond them, fields stretch half a mile toward the horizon, a patchwork of green and brown under a sky just waking up. The air is crisp, sharp with the scent of livestock: cows lowing, sheep bleating, pigs rooting in nearby pens, and the damp, heavy tang of mud underfoot. Paths wind between homes, littered with straw and animal droppings. No paved roads or street signs to guide the way. At the village's heart stands a stone church, its modest tower rising above the timber-framed houses like a sentinel, its bell tolling softly to mark the morning prayers. Nearby looms the manor house, home to the Lord's steward, a stern figure who collects rents and enforces the rules that bind these people to the land. I stand frozen for a moment, my modern mind struggling to process the absence of everything I know. Streetlights, no sewage system, no hum of electricity, just raw living earth pressing against my borrowed boots, and a community breathing as one. It's overwhelming, yet there's a beauty in this closeness to the land, a connection I've never felt in my city life, where concrete and glass keep the world at arm's length. My chest swells with a strange mix of longing and respect, a yearning to understand this grounded existence, to peel back its layers and find the pulse beneath. Eleanor beckons me with a shy smile, her hands already busy with a basket, and I follow her to a small garden plot at the edge of the house, the soil soft and cool under my feet. She's gathering herbs for the family's medicinal stash, a task so ordinary, yet so vital, it feels like a revelation. Sage for fevers, chamomile for restless nights, she says, her voice bright with pride, her fingers deft as she plucks the fragrant leaves. I kneel beside her, my hands clumsy but eager, the scent of chamomile rising like a soft promise of calm. I'm struck by her knowledge, passed down through generations without a single book, a living library of wisdom etched in memory. This isn't just survival, it's a kind of alchemy, turning plants into remedies, and I feel a rush of awe that makes my heart skip. My hands, so used to tapping screens and scrolling feeds, feel alive in the dirt, each leaf a tiny miracle under my fingers. Eleanor shares stories of York's bustling markets, where these herbs might be traded for cloth or a precious iron tool, and I'm captivated by the ingenuity of it all. Every stem, every root has purpose, woven into the fabric of their lives. I think of my own world, where medicine comes in plastic bottles and food in plastic wrap, and I feel a pang of loss for this intimacy with the earth. Could I bring such mindfulness home? Maybe start a small garden, grow herbs on my windowsill. The thought sparks a flicker of hope, a desire to carry this wisdom forward, and I'm hooked, desperate to see more, to feel more of this world's quiet magic. If this plunge into a medieval village has you captivated, craving more stories that bring history to life, hit that subscribe button. Your support fuels our passion to craft these journeys, pulling you into the past to inspire your present. Let's keep exploring together. The village hums with purpose as I follow William toward the fields, my mind buzzing with questions that beg to be answered. The open fields stretch endlessly, a quilt of narrow strips, each family farming about 20 acres scattered across the land to ensure fairness. No one gets only the best soil, no one stuck with the worst. William explains the three-field system with a quiet pride. One field grows winter wheat, its green tips swaying in the breeze. Another waits for spring oats, soon to be planted. The third lies fallow, resting to replenish its strength. The land breathes, same as us, he says, and I'm awed by the simplicity of it. A sustainable cycle, born of necessity, not textbooks or TED Talks. In my world, we'd call this eco-friendly, but here it's just life. And I feel a spark of inspiration to rethink my own habits, maybe compost my scraps, waste less, live lighter. The thought tugs at me, urging me to dive deeper, to uncover what else this village can teach me. We reach the fields, and I watch men guide oxen, their wooden plows with iron tips, cutting slow, deliberate furrows through the earth. William hands me a hoe, showing me how to break up clods. But it's grueling. 1 acre takes a full day, he says, and my soft hands blister quickly. He chuckles, his patience steadying me, and I feel a mix of humility and admiration for these people who know the land like a friend. Nearby, Agnes and other women crawl along the rows, weeding by hand, their fingers swift as they pluck unwanted plants with practiced precision. Their chatter fills the air. Talk of planting by the moon's phases of York's great cathedral, where they pray for good harvests. I kneel beside Agnes, my back aching but my spirit lifted by her stories, her laughter a balm against the labor. This isn't just work. It's a social web, a community woven through shared effort, and I feel a warmth growing in me, a sense of belonging I rarely find in my world of fleeting connections. My neighbors back home are names on mailboxes, not partners in survival. And I wonder, could I build this kind of bond, maybe share a meal or a project with them? The thought stirs me, pulling me deeper into the village's rhythm. By midday, we rest under a gnarled oak tree, its shade a cool embrace after hours in the sun. We share dark bread, a sliver of sharp cheese, and more ale, its malty coolness soothing my dry throat. The church bell rings for sext around noon, and I realize time here is fluid, measured by the sun's arc and the bell's toll, not the relentless tick of a clock. It's liberating, this surrender to nature's pace, and I feel my shoulders relax, shedding the weight of my calendar-driven life. In the distance, Henry the blacksmith's hammer rings out, crafting nails and plowshares, while Robert's watermill grinds grain into flour, its wooden wheel turning steadily in the stream. These men are the village's backbone, their skills as vital as the fields themselves. I visit Henry's forge, the heat intense as sparks fly from his anvil, his face lined with focus and pride. A good tool saves a season, he says, and I'm struck by the value of work that directly sustains others. So different from my often abstract tasks, mailless meetings, endless digital noise. Could I find work that feels this real, this essential? The question lingers, hooking me deeper into their world. eager to contribute. I join a group repairing a wooden fence to protect young crops from wandering livestock. We weave branches into a sturdy barrier, our hands moving in sync as laughter and instructions fly. Thomas, a weathered farmer, shows me how to twist the wood just right, his calloused fingers nimble. Strong fences make strong neighbors, he says with a grin, and I feel a surge of pride as the structure takes shape, my blisters a badge of belonging. This isn't just about crops, it's about trust, about knowing your neighbors will help when your own fence fails. My modern life, with its locked doors and fleeting hellos, feels distant, and I'm filled with a quiet yearning for this kind of mutual reliance. Could I start small, back home, a shared garden, a block party, something to weave my own community? The thought is a spark, urging me to keep exploring, to see how this village thrives on connection as the sun dips, painting the sky in hues of gold and rose. I head back toward the village, my body aching but my mind alive with the day's discoveries. The church bell rings for vespers, its clear tone a call to pause, and I feel a pull to join, to see what holds this community together. The fields, the forge, the stories, they're all pieces of a puzzle, and I'm desperate to fit them together, to understand the heart of this medieval world. My heart beats with anticipation, with a hunger to learn more, to feel the pulse of a life so different, yet so human. This isn't just a story, it's a window into resilience, into wisdom, into a way of living that might just change how I see my own world. And I can't look away. The quill in my hand trembles as I trace Cicero's words onto parchment, the ink smudging slightly under my 7-year-old fingers in the dim 15 by 10-foot library of our York Manor. It's 1526, and I'm William Hawthorne, caught in the relentless rhythm of a Tudor childhood where every moment is a step toward a future I can't yet see. The air smells of wax and old leather, the dozen books lining the shelves, whispering of a world beyond these walls, law, church, courtware, my Latin drills will one day carry me. Master Collins, my tutor, looms like a shadow, his eyes sharp for errors that could summon the birch rod leaning in the corner. My wrist aches, my doublet chafes, but there's a fire in my chest, a quiet pride in each word I master. Outside, the world hums with lives I'll never live, kids like Joan Carter in Canterbury, Henry Walsh in London, Margaret Lane in Oxford, Elizabeth Gray near Bristol each, forging their own path through labor, play, and survival. Their stories, pulsing with grit and hope, weave with mine, a tapestry of Tudor England's heart. You, nestled in your 80 by 60-inch bed in the US, Canada, or England, aged 16 to 40, craving history's embrace, are here with us. Feel the weight of our days, the spark of our dreams, and let's dive deeper into a world where childhood is a crucible, shaping us for a destiny written in stars we all share. My morning began with dawn's chill, prayers in Latin and a falconry lesson that set my soul soaring, but now I'm grounded in the library's grind. Master Collins snaps, William, your amo is sloppy again. I wince, rewriting the verb to love, its conjugations a ladder to Oxford, where I'll study at 17, costing father $40 a year, a sum that could feed a village. Latin is my key, the language of power, but it's a heavy door to push. After verbs, we shift to math, practical sums, like calculating a 20-acre field's wheat yield. My slate scratches, numbers blurring as I fight fatigue. You might think of your school days, with calculators and coffee breaks. But here, there's no pause, no weekends, just 6 days a week, dawn to dusk, my mind stretched taut. Yet, there's a thrill in it, a sense I'm building something lasting, like a cathedral, stone by stone. My brothers, Richard and John, 5 and 3, are spared this, for now. Their trundle bed, a softer world, but my sister Anne, 9, stitches her future in needlework, her path to marriage, already clear. Our lives are mapped, noble tracks laid. Before we could dream otherwise, today there's a new challenge that quickens my pulse. Archery. At 7, I'm old enough for the laws, demand every boy over 7 must practice, readying for England's longbow armies. Out in a 50-yard range behind our manor, the grass damp under my leather shoes, I grip a bow, its yew wood smooth but heavy. The target, a straw-stuffed circle 30 feet away, mocks my trembling arms. "Draw steady, William," says Giles, our groundsman, his voice gruff but patient. I pull my doublet tight across my shoulders and release. The arrow arcs, thudding wide, but the effort surges through me, a raw pulse of strength. I'm no warrior yet, but each shot carves me closer to manhood, to the knight or lord I might become. Sweat beads on my brow as I nock another arrow, the wind whispering of battles I'll never fight but must prepare for. You might imagine a gym class dodgeball game, but this is sharper. Reala boys play with a nation's weight. Back in the library, my arms ache, but I'm alive with purpose, my quill steadier now. This is my childhood, books and bows, duty and dreams. My mind drifts to Joan Carter, 9, in a 12 by 15-foot Canterbury cottage, her world a stark contrast to my parchment and privilege. She wakes before dawn, barefoot on an earth floor, her breath visible in the loft where she sleeps with 4 siblings on straw pallets. No servant rouses her. The rooster's crow does, sharp as a whip. She kneels by the central hearth, smoke stinging her eyes as she coaxes embers with twigs gathered yesterday. Her mother, nursing baby Edmund, nods, "Good lass, fetch water." Joan grabs a 5-gallon bucket, its wood rough, and trudges 100 yards to a stream, dew-soaking her patched linen smock. The water's cold, heavy, sloshing as she hauls it back, her arms burning. This is her dawn, every dawn, a cycle of labor that feeds her family. You might think of chores, taking out trash, maybe, but Joan's work is survival. Her hands the family's lifeline. Her smock, dyed brown with walnut shells, clings to her, one of 2 she owns. Washed rarely to save water and time. Joan's education isn't slate or quill, but the earth's lessons, passed through her mother's hands. Today, she's learning to dye wool with madder root, a skill that'll make her cloth glow red for market. In a 10-gallon pot over the hearth, the roots simmer, their earthy scent thick. "Keep it low, Joan," her mother says, "or the color'll fade." Joan stirs, her face flushed, her heart swelling as the wool drinks the dye. This is her art, her pride, a craft that'll feed her kin. Later, she churns butter, tends chickens, and weeds a 50 by -50-foot garden, her fingers nimble but chapped. By 19, she's still home, unmarried, her cheese and butter famed at market, her strength vital to her family's rise. She eyes Robert, a miller's son, a match that'd lift her slightly, but her true love is her work, the land's pulse in her veins. You might feel her grit, her quiet triumph, and wonder, could you carry that load, find joy in such toil? Joan's story is a beacon, urging you to see the power in small victories. In London, near St. Paul's, Henry Walsh, 13, rolls off a thin pallet in a 20 by -30-foot cooper's workshop, the air thick with oak shavings, his clothes leather jerkin, wool smell of wood after 4 years apprenticing to Master Green. He's up at 5 a.m., lighting the hearth, its glow warming his calloused hands. Then he dashes 200 yards to a conduit, 2 5-gallon buckets banging against his legs. London's 10-foot wide streets pulse with maids, merchants, and pigs rooting in gutters. Salt, smoke, river mucka, constant assault. Henry's day is barrels, shaping staves for 63-gallon hogsheads. His draw knife steady, but not yet masterful. Each stroke is a lesson, his muscles learning the wood's grain. You might think of a summer job, stacking shelves, but Henry's work is a 7-year vow, his pallet, his bed, his future tied to the guild's nod. His hands, splintered but strong, carve a path to freedom. Tonight, Henry's got a new spark, a guild pageant rehearsal, a street parade where coopers flaunt their craft. In a 100 by 50-foot yard, he dons guild colors green and gold, practicing a chant with other apprentices. Barrels strong, trade flows long, they sing, their voices raw but proud. Henry's chest swells, his place in London's heart clear. The pageant's banners flutter, a rare moment of glory in his grind. By 23, he's a journeyman, saving for a shop, mentoring a new boy, his dream of guild status bright. He's survived, sweating sickness, his calluses proof of endurance. If Henry's London pulse grips you, hit that subscribe button for more Tudor tales to drift off. Tour support keeps these stories alive. Henry's life, like mine, is a forge, each task a hammer blow, shaping a man from a boy. You might feel his hunger, his hope, and ask, what drives you when the path is long? On an Oxford green, 200 feet wide, Margaret Lane, 10, daughter of a blacksmith, bounds into play, her kirtle dusty from a rare break. She's playing hoodman's blind, a cloth over her eyes, her laughter sharp as she stumbles to catch friends. The game hones her senses, a skill for her future as a wife. Later, by a stream, she molds a clay whistle, its shrill note a triumph she tucks in her pocket. Her mother teaches her sewing, cooking, minding siblings, but play hopscotch, tagbill, bonds across classes. On May Day, she weave a 20-foot maypole's ribbons, her feet quick, her heart free. By 20, she's set to wed Thomas, a carpenter, her trousseau's linen shift stitched with love. Her childhood's joy, snatched between chores, fuels her dream of a warm hearth. You might recall your own game stag, hide-and-seek and feel Margaret's spark, her resilience in a world that demands so much. Her story whispers, find joy, even in the grind. Near Bristol, Elizabeth Gray, 10, sits in a 12 by 10-foot cottage, her brother Thomas's cough rattling the air. His fever burns, and she dabs his forehead with a cloth, offering a pint of coltsfoot tea, its bitter taste, a hope learned from Goody Harris, the village wise woman. Illness is a specter, smallpox, scars, measles, tuberculosis stalk every home. Elizabeth's chores pile up, pottage for siblings, sweeping the earth floor, her hands steady despite fear. Tonight she joins a storytelling night, a new village, ritual in a 30 by 20-foot barn, where elders spin tales of nights, the fire's glow warms her, the stories easing her worry. By 20, she's an apothecary's assistant, mixing rosewater in a 15 by -20-foot shop, her care for Thomas now healing others. Her resilience, forged in fear, is a light you might recognize. In your own trials, caring for kin, pushing through doubt. Elizabeth's story urges you. Hold fast, your strength matters. Our lives, my Latin, Joan's die, Henry's pageant, Margaret's whistle, Elizabeth's tales are Tudor England's heartbeat. My libraries dim, the sun high, but I feel them, their labor and laughter echoing mine. You, in your cozy bed, might sense their weight, their spark. My archery, Joan's wool, Henry's barrels, Margaret's play, Elizabeth's tea. Not just tasks, but lifelines, shaping us for a world where death's near, but dreams endure. Could you carry their load, find their joy? Their stories, like mine, are a call to see your own grit, your own path. Stay with us through work, play, and hope to see where these roads lead, under the same stars that guide you tonight. The sun spills golden through the roses in our York Manor's 30 by 20-foot garden, and I, William Hawthorne, 7 years old in 1526, stumble through a courtly dance, my doublet tight, my heart light. The lute's melody weaves through the air, and for a fleeting moment, I'm not the noble heir bound for Latin drills or archery ranges, but a boy chasing joy. My sister Anne, 9, giggles as I misstep, her skirts swirling, and our dance master, Master Lyle, claps sharply. Grace, William, Grace. This is rare, this laughter, in a Tudor childhood where duty presses like stone. Yet joy is fragile lilness stalks, a shadow that darkens even these bright hours. I think of Joan Carter in Canterbury, Henry Walsh in London, Margaret Lane in Oxford, Elizabeth Grey near Bristol, their lives a dance of play and peril. Each step a defiance of a world where 1 in 4 kids doesn't reach 5. You, curled in your 80 by 60-inch bed in the US, Canada, or England, aged 16 to 40, hungry for history's heartbeat, feel this pulse. Their laughter, their fears, their resilience, they're yours too. Let's plunge into this Tudor tapestry, where every game, every fever, shapes a soul under the same stars guiding you tonight. The garden's herbs time. Rosemary scent the air as I bow to Anne, my leather shoes scuffing the gravel. Master Lyle's lute slows, and I catch my breath, my chest warm with effort. This courtly dance, new to me, is no mere game, but a lesson for court, where I'll one day bow to lords or kings. My arms ache from yesterday's archery, my mind from Master Collins's Latin, but here I'm alive, my missteps forgiven in Anne's grin. You might recall a school dance, awkward but free, but this is sharper each step, a thread in my noble tapestry, woven for a future I can't yet grasp. Back in the 15 by 10-foot library, my quill waits, but my heart lingers here, where joy is a stolen jewel. I think of kids today, your streaming binges, your park picnics, and envy your freedom. Yet there's a spark in this dance, a pride in moving toward manhood that fuels me. Anne curtsies, her eyes bright, and I wonder, what joys does she chase, bound for needlework and marriage. Our paths diverge, but this moment binds us, a rare lightness in our structured world. My mind drifts to Joan Carter, 10, in Canterbury's fields, where a harvest festival transforms a 200-acre sprawl into a riot of color and sound. She's not hauling 5-gallon water buckets today, or stirring madder-dyed wool. She's racing in a 100-yard sack race, her coarse kirtle snagging as she hops, her laughter sharp against the crowd's cheers. Her bare feet pound the earth, her face flushed, and for a moment, the grind of her 12 by 15-foot cottage fades. She stumbles, rights herself, and crosses the line, third but triumphant, her chest heaving with pride. You might think of a county fair, the thrill of a relay, but Joan's race is rarer, a fleeting escape from chores that feed her family. Later, she learns beekeeping, a new skill under her mother's watchful eye. In a 50 by 50-foot meadow, she tends hives, their hum a secret song, yielding a gallon of honey yearly. Her hands, chapped from laundry, gentled the bees, her heart swelling as she seals a comb. Slow, Joan, her mother murmurs, they'll trust you. This is her joy, her power, a craft that sweetens her family's table and market stall. By 19, her honey's famed, her market deals sharp, her eye on Robert, the miller's son. You feel her spark, her resilience in turning toil to triumph, and wonder, what small joys light your grind? In London's shadow, near St. Paul's, Henry Walsh, 14, pushes a handcart through 10-foot wide streets, its wheels rattling over cobbles. His cooper's hands, calloused from shaping 63-gallon hogshead staves, grip the handles, his jerkin patched at the elbows. The city's pulse merchants shouts, pigs in gutters, the Thamus's dank breath surrounds him. But today, he finds a new thrill, a streetball game. In a 200-foot alley, apprentices kick a leather ball, dodging carts and dogs, their laughter raw. Henry's quick, his feet nimble, and he scores, his mates' cheers a rare crown. You might recall a pickup game, the rush of a goal, but this is Henry's rebellion against a 20 by 30-foot workshop's grind, where his pallets, his bed, his life, a 7-year vow to master green. Back at work, his drock knife sings, his rhythm surer, the game's spark fueling his strokes. At 23, he's a journeyman, mentoring a new apprentice, his guild dream bright. He's survived sweating sickness, his scars a badge of endurance. His joy, snatched in alleys, mirrors your own fleeting breaks late-night chats. A quick run, Henry's story whispers, sees the light, even in labor's shadow. On Oxford's 200-foot green, Margaret Lane, 11, weaves a 20-foot maypole's ribbons. Her kirtle dusty, her laughter a bell. It's May Day, and she's not sewing or minding siblings. She's playing fox and geese, ducking friends' tags, her feet quick. The game's chaos skids, from bakers to lords, suns blurs, Tudors, rigid lines, her heart racing as she evades capture. Later, she carves a wooden spoon by a stream, a new craft her blacksmith's strength shapes, its curve a gift for her mother. The wood yields to her knife, her hands steady, her pride quiet but fierce. You might think of crafting, knitting, whittling, but Margaret's spoon is a love letter, a moment of creation in a life of chores. Her play hopscotch, knucklebones, teaches grace, bonds, skills for her future as a wife. By 20, she's marrying Thomas, a carpenter, her trousseau's linen shift stitched with care. she hosts a spinning day, neighbors' tales weaving with wool, her laughter echoing this green. Her joy, hard won, is a beacon you recognize in your own friendships, your own crafts. Margaret's story urges, find beauty in the everyday. Near Bristol, Elizabeth Gray, 10, sits in a 12 by 10-foot cottage, her brother Thomas's cough, a knife in her chest. His fever burns, his breath's shallow, and she mixes a pint of coltsfoot tea, its bitter scent, a prayer learned from Goody Harris, the wise woman. Smallpox, scars, measles, tuberculosis, these are Tudor's specters, striking without mercy. Elizabeth's hands, steady despite fear, apply mustard poultices, their sting drawing Thomas's whimpers. Her chores mount pottage for siblings, sweeping the earth floor, but tonight she joins a church prayer vigil, a new ritual in a 40 by 30-foot nave. Candles flicker, villagers' voices rise, and Elizabeth's fear softens, her heart tethered to hope. You might think of a hospital wait, the ache of worry, but Elizabeth's vigil is her strength, her faith a shield. By 20, she's an apothecary's assistant, blending rosewater in a 15 by 20-foot shop. Her care for Thomas, now healing others. She teaches herb lore to girls, her voice calm, her past a guide. Her resilience, born in fear, shines like your own acts of care cooking for a friend, holding a hand. Elizabeth's story calls, your strength endures, these joys my dance. Joan's race, Henry's goal, Margaret's spoon, Elizabeth's vigilar, Tudor England's heartbeat, fragile but fierce. My garden fades as I'm called to lessons, but their laughter echoes in me. Joan's bees, Henry's ball, Margaret's ribbons, Elizabeth's candles, they're not just play but defiance, proof we live despite death's shadow. You, in your cozy bed, feel their pulse, gratitude for vaccines, for safety, but awe at their grit. My 6 by 4-foot straw mattress, Joan's 5-gallon bucket, Henry's 63-gallon barrels, Margaret's 20-foot maypole, Elizabeth's 12 by 10-foot cottage, their stages for this dance of survival. Could you find their joy, their strength, in your own trials? Their stories, like mine, are a mirror, reflecting your own spark. Stay with us through laughter, fear, and hope to see how these moments shape us under the stars that bind our worlds. The candlelight flickers in the 20 by 15-foot hall of Oxford University, its glow dancing across my rhetoric text as I, William Hawthorne, now 17, sit in 1536, my quill poised, but my heart heavy with the weight of a decade's journey. Tudor England has shifted, King Henry VIII's break with Rome has shattered monasteries, their stones repurposed, their charity vanished. My childhood, a forge of Latin, archery, and courtly dances in York's Manor, has led me here, costing my father $40 a year, a fortune that could feed a village. My green wool doublet fits snugly now, my jaw shadowed with the first hint of a beard. But I carry the echoes of 1526, when I was 7, and death was a constant shadow, 1 in 4 kids. Gone before 5, half by 10. I think of Joan Carter in Canterbury, Henry Walsh in London, Margaret Lane in Oxford, Elizabeth Gray in Bristol, now grown like me. Their childhoods of toil, play, and peril, shaping paths as vital as mine. You, nestled in your 80 by 60-inch bed, in the US, Canada, or England, aged 16 to 40, craving history's embrace, feel their pulse. Our stories, woven from grit and hope, end in purpose, a mirror for your own dreams under the same stars. Let's walk these final steps together into adulthood, where childhood's lessons bloom into lives that echo across centuries. My Oxford chamber is sparse, a narrow bed, a desk, a chest for my few belongings, but my mind is a cathedral filled with rhetoric, theology, and the hum of debates. I'm the first Hawthorne to tread these halls, pride warring with the pressure to prove my worth. My lectures begin at dawn, prayers in Latin grounding us, then hours of disputations, my voice finding strength as I argue Aristotle's ethics. The goal isn't just knowledge, but connections, sons of lords, future bishops, men who'll shape England. My childhood's discipline master, Collins's birch rod, the 50-yard archery range, the 30 by 20-foot gardens, dances prepared me for this. I think of my brother Richard, now 15, a page in a lord's household, learning swordplay, his path martial where mine is scholarly. My sister Anne, 19, runs her own household, a mother to a toddling son, her needlework lessons bearing fruit. Our noble tracks, laid in York's 6 by 4-foot straw beds, diverge but hold purpose. You might glance at your life, college, jobs, family, and feel gratitude for choices, for safety, but my path's clarity, though rigid, steadies me. Could you walk it, trading freedom for duty? Our story holds the answer. My quill pauses as I reflect on Joan Carter, 19, in Canterbury, her hands steady as she loads a cart with 10 pounds of cheese for market. Her 12 by 15-foot cottage, once a child's world of 5-gallon water hauls and madder-dyed wool, now hums with her skill. She's unmarried, a rarity, her butter and honey famed, her family's land grown to 3 cows, more sheep, a 50 by 50-foot garden thriving. Today, she's learning negotiation, a new art, as she haggles with traders in a bustling 200 by 100-foot market square. 4 pence, not 3, she says, her voice firm, her eyes sharp, winning a better price. Her childhood's grit beak hum. The 100-yard sack races thrill taught her this strength. She eyes Robert, the miller's son, their talks practical but warm, a match that'd lift her slightly. Her mother, graying at 40, leans on Joan's vigor, her pride quiet but fierce. You might think of your own deals, job offers, budgets, but Joan's stakes are survival. Her triumph, a family's rise. Her heart, tied to the land, pulses with purpose, mirroring your own small victories. Joan's story whispers, your work, however humble, builds legacies. In London, near St. Paul's, Henry Walsh, 23, hammers a barrel in a 20 by 30-foot cooper's workshop. The oaks scent his second skin, a journeyman, now his childhood's. Thin pallet and 63-gallon hogshead staves have forged a man, his arms powerful, his eyes steady. He's saving for master status, a shop of his own. A guild's freedom, a dream, born in 10-foot-wide streets and street ball games. Today, he mentors a new apprentice, a new role that steadies him. Feel the grain, lad, he says, guiding young Peter's drawknife, his voice calm but firm, echoing Master Green's lessons. Henry's hands, scarred from splinters, survived. Sweating sickness 3 summers ago, his fever breaking like a storm's end. His workshop hums, barrels for wine merchants, bound for the king's court, each a step toward his goal. You might recall a mentor, teacher, boss, but Henry's guidance is his legacy, his guild pride a crown, his dream, once a boy's spark, now burns bright, like your ambitions, in a world of opportunity. If Henry's craft inspires you, hit that subscribe button for more Tudor tales to dream by. Your support keeps these stories alive. Across Oxford, Margaret Lane, 20, settles into a 15-byte-well-foot cottage with her husband, Thomas, a carpenter, her trousseau's linen shift folded with care. Her childhood's 200-foot green, with its 20-foot maypole dances and carved wooden spoons, blooms here, her hearth a haven. Today, she hosts a spinning bee, a new event where neighbors gather their wheels, worry, tales weaving with wool. My gran outran a wolf once, a woman laughs, and Margaret's smile glows, her laughter echoing her May Day games. Her hands, once dusty from Fox Angie's, now spin thread, her strength a gift to her village. Her marriage, grown from childhood, friendship with Thomas, is a quiet triumph, their cottage's new roof a promise of stability. You might think of a game night, friends' laughter, but Margaret's bee is community, her joy a bridge across Tudor's divides. Her heart, once free on Oxford's green, now anchors a home, a beacon you see in your own bonds. Margaret's story urges, nurture your circle, it holds you fast. In Bristol, Elizabeth Gray, 20, blends a pint of rosewater in a 15-by-20-foot apothecary shop, her fingers deft, her heart calm. Her childhood's 12-by-10-foot cottage, where she nursed brother Thomas through fever with coltsfoot tea, led here a rare path for a woman. Today, she teaches herb lore to village girls, a new mentorship born in those fearful nights. Yarrow stops bleeding, she says, her voice soft, her hands guiding a girl's mortar. Thomas, now 16, a sturdy miller's apprentice, thrives, his survival her spark. Her shop, lined with jars, smells of lavender and sage, a haven for the sick. Her care, once trembling, now heals, her past a guide. You might recall helping a sibling, teaching a friend, but Elizabeth's lessons are life. Her role precarious, she can't be master, may lose it to marriage. Her resilience, forged in church vigils, shines like your own acts of kindness. Elizabeth's story calls, your care, however small, ripples wide. Our childhood's my Latin, Joan's chores, Henry's staves, Margaret's games, Elizabeth's teas were brief, duties heavy. My 6-by-4-foot straw mattress, Joan's 5-gallon bucket, Henry's 63-gallon barrels, Margaret's 20-foot maypole, Elizabeth's 12-by-10-foot cottage, they shaped us. My Oxford hall, Joan's market, Henry's shop, Margaret's cottage, Elizabeth's apothecary, they're our harvest. You, in your world of screens and safety, face trials, deadlines, doubts, but our stories whisper, keep going. My rhetoric, Joan's cheese, Henry's barrels, Margaret's spinning, Elizabeth's herbs, there, not just tasks but legacies, proof we lived despite death's shadow. Could you carry our dreams, find our purpose, our paths, noble farmer, craftsman, healer, reflect, yours learning, growing, enduring. The stars, over York, Canterbury, London, Oxford, Bristol, shine on you. As you drift off, let our lives, William's scholarship, Joan's grit, Henry's craft, Margaret's warmth, Elizabeth's Karen-spear, your own. If this Tudor journey moved you, subscribe for more history to dream by. The quill in my hand trembles slightly. William Hawthorne, sit by a candle's flicker, its glow dancing across parchment as I pen a letter to my old tutor, Master Collins, now retired in London. Tudor England has transformed. King Henry VIII's reign nears its end. The monastery's ruins are moss-covered scars, and the Church of England shapes our prayers. My childhood, a crucible of Latin drills, archery ranges, and courtly dances, feels like a distant dream, yet its lessons pulse in my veins. I think of Joan Carter in Canterbury, Henry Walsh in London, Margaret Lane in Oxford, and Elizabeth Grey in Bristol. Their lives woven with mine through the fragile threads of 1526, when we were children in a world where 1 in 4 didn't reach 5. Their stories, like mine, are etched in resilience, joy, and purpose, a tapestry that speaks to you, curled in your 80 by 60-inch bed in the US, Canada, or England, aged 16 to 40, craving history's embrace. As I reflect on our paths, now stretching into legacy, let's walk these final miles together, under the same stars that lit our youth, to see how our childhoods shaped not just us, but the world we leave behind. The manor's quiet tonight, the 40 by 20-foot great hall, empty save for the crackle of a fire. My doublet, now velvet, fits my frame, my beard full, but I'm no longer the boy who knelt on cold floorboards for Pater Noster, or launched a kestrel in a 200 by 200-foot field. I'm a lawyer now, returned from Oxford's halls, where I debated rhetoric for $40 a year, my mind sharpened by connections with lords' sons. My work takes me to court, advising nobles on land disputes, my quill as mighty as a sword. Yet, as I write, my heart drifts to 1526, to the 6 by 4-foot straw mattress that cradled my dreams, to the 15 by 10-foot library where Master Collins's birch rod loomed. Those days, heavy with duty, taught me discipline. But it's the fleeting joysalutes tune in a 30 by -20-foot garden, and arrows thud on a 50-yard range that linger. My brother Richard, now 25, a knight in a lord's service, wields a sword with the fire I saw in his boyhood eyes. Anne, 29, mothers 3 children, her household a haven, her needlework a legacy. Our noble paths, set in childhood, have borne fruit. But the shadow of those lost 1 in 4, half by 10s, still humbles me. You might glance at your life career, family, dreams and feel gratitude for safety, for choice, but my clarity, though rigid, anchors me. Could you trade freedom for such purpose? Our story holds the answer. Tonight, I'm crafting a new endeavor, a charity school for York's poor boys, a dream born from my childhood's privilege. In a 30 by -20-foot hall, I envision desks where lads, unlike me, learn to read, write, and cipher, their futures lifted by knowledge. I've secured a patron, Lord Fairfax, and donated $20 yearly, half a farmer's wage, to fund slates and quills. My first act was teaching a boy, Thomas, to write his name, his eyes wide as my kestrels once were. His trembling hand, inking THOMs, stirred a pride deeper than any court victory. This school, my legacy, echoes my Latin drills, but opens doors I never had to force. You might think of volunteering, tutoring, mentoring, but my school is a lifeline, a defiance of death's shadow that claimed so many. As I write to Master Collins, I thank him for the discipline that led here, my heart full of purpose, my childhood's grind, its joys, built this man, this mission, and I wonder, what legacy will your youth forge? My thoughts turn to Joan Carter, 29, in Canterbury, her hands now calloused but deft as she kneads dough in a 12 by -15-foot cottage, now her own with Robert, the miller's son, her husband of 5 years. Her childhood's 5-gallon water hauls, madder-dyed wool, and beekeeping have blossomed into a thriving trade. Her cheese, 15 pounds weekly, and honey, 2 gallons yearly, draw crowds to a 200 by 100-foot market. Her negotiation skills, honed by haggling for 4 pence now, legendary. Today, she's teaching her daughter, Mary, 4, to plant carrots in a 50 by 50-foot garden, her voice soft but firm. Deep, lass, so they grow strong, she says, her hands guiding Mary's tiny ones. This act, new and tender, mirrors her mother's lessons, a cycle of survival and love. Joan's 2 sons, Edmund and John, toddle nearby, their laughter a joy, her childhood's sack races foreshadowed. Her family's land, now 5 cows and a flock of sheep, thrives, her grit a cornerstone. You might recall gardening with a parent, the earth's smell, but Joan's lessons are life, her legacy a family's rise. Her heart, once tied to a stream's flow, now beats for her children, her purpose a beacon of endurance. Joan's story whispers, your small axe-stitching, nurturing build futures. In London, near St. Paul's, Henry Walsh, 33, stands in his own 25 by 30-foot cooper's shop, his hammer ringing as he seals a 63-gallon hogshead for a wine merchant. His childhood's thin palate, street ball games, and guild pageant chants are distant, but their fire burns in his eyes. A master cooper now, he's a guild freeman, his dream won after years as a journeyman. Today, he's crafting a new legacy, a guild apprenticeship fund for orphans, inspired by his own hard path. In a 20 by 20-foot guild hall, he pledges $10 yearly to train boys, his voice steady as he speaks to members. No lad should sleep hungry, he says, his scarred hands proof of survival, including sweating sickness a decade ago. His apprentice, Peter, now 23, thrives under his mentorship, shaping staves with Henry's old draught-knife. Henry's wife, Alice, and their infant daughter, Rose, fill his home, a 15 by 12-foot haven near the Thamus's 10-foot wide streets. His shop hums, barrels bound for court, his purpose, London's pulse. You might think of starting a business, mentoring a colleague, but Henry's fund is a lifeline, his legacy a guild's strength. His heart, once racing in alleys, now beats for his city. His story, urging your skills, shared, lift others. In Oxford, Margaret Lane, 30, rocks her newborn son, William, in a 15 by 12-foot cottage. Her husband, Thomas, a carpenter, carving a cradle nearby. Her childhood's 200-foot green, 20-foot maypole ribbons, and clay whistles echo in her laughter, a warmth that fills her home. Today, she's organizing a village harvest fair, a new tradition to unite Oxford's folk. In a 300 by 200-foot field, she plans stalls, games, and a bonfire, her voice rallying neighbors. A day for all, she says, her hands, once carving a wooden spoon, now tying ribbons for children's races. Her daughters, Sarah and Jane, 6 and 3, help string garlands, their giggles, her joy. Her spinning bee, now a monthly rite, weaves tails and wool, her cottage, a hub. Thomas's trade thrives, their home solid, her childhood's fox and geese games, a lesson in bonds. You might recall a community event potluck festival, but Margaret's Fair is her village's heart, her legacy its unity, her heart, once free on Oxford's green, now anchors a family, a community. Her story, calling your warmth, builds homes. In Bristol, Elizabeth Gray, 30, blends a pint of lavender oil in a 15 by -20-foot apothecary shop, her fingers deft, her heart calm. Her childhood's 12 by 10-foot cottage, where she nursed brother Thomas with coltsfoot tea, led here, a rare role for a woman. Today, she's writing a herbal guide, a new endeavor to preserve her knowledge. In a quiet corner, her quill scratches, detailing Yarrow's power to stop bleeding, her voice echoing Goody Harris's lessons. Her brother, Thomas, 26, a miller with his own family, thrives. Her care, his spark. Elizabeth's shop, a haven, heals with rosewater and sage. Her mentorship of village girls, now a dozen strong, a legacy. Her role, precarious without mastery, holds firm, her heart steady despite marriage's pull. You might think of journaling, teaching a skill, but Elizabeth's guide is a gift to generations. Her legacy, healing. Her heart, once trembling in church vigils, now beats for her craft. Her story urging, your knowledge, shared, endures. Our lives, my school, Joan's garden, Henry's fund, Margaret's Fair, Elizabeth's guide. Our Tudor, England's heartbeat, grown from childhood's seeds. My 6 by 4-foot mattress, Joan's 5-gallon bucket, Henry's 63-gallon barrels, Margaret's 20-foot maypole, Elizabeth's 12 by 10-foot cottage shaped us. My York chamber, Joan's cottage, Henry's shop, Margaret's home, Elizabeth's apothecary, are our harvest. You, in 2025, face your own trials, work, loss, dreams, but our stories whisper, keep going. My quill, Joan's, carrots, Henry's, barrels, Margaret's, garlands, Elizabeth's herbs, are legacies of purpose, proof we lived despite death's shadow. Could you carry our dreams, forge your own? Our paths, scholar, farmer, craftsman, unifier, healer, reflect yours. A call to build under the stars that bind us. If this journey stirred you, hit that subscribe button to fuel more tales that light your nights. Your support drives us to weave history's threads, inspiring resilience under the same stars. Join us, and let's dream on.